It's 3 in the morning. You're lying in bed, wide awake, and your brain is doing what it always does at 3 a.m. It's running the math. If I save this much and the market does this, and I don't touch it for this long, you've run these numbers 100 times, and every single time the answer feels the same, impossibly far away. So you do what any rational person does at 3 a.m. You open Instagram. And there it is, some 26-year-olds with a boat, another guy living off dividends, a woman your exact age who just bought her second investment property. Meanwhile, you're over here celebrating a 4-digit savings account like you just won the Super Bowl. And before you close the app and spiral into an existential crisis, let me stop you right there. Because what you're experiencing, it's not failure. It's not even that unusual. What you're experiencing is the most psychologically brutal part of building wealth that almost nobody talks about honestly. It's called the first $100,000. And reaching it isn't just a financial milestone. It is, without exaggeration, like trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops. It's the first major barrier that separates the people who get serious about building wealth from the people who just quietly hope their financial problems solve themselves. The good news? Once you understand why this phase is so brutal, everything changes. So let's talk about it. Section 2, the heavy lifting reality check. Here's the honest truth that most financial influencers gloss over. The reason the first $100,000 feels so agonizingly slow is because you are doing almost all the work yourself. Compound interest, the magical force everyone talks about, the thing that's supposed to make you rich while you sleep, is basically sitting on the bench at this stage. It's warming up, stretching, getting ready. But right now, it's you doing the heavy lifting. Let's look at the actual numbers. Say you save $10,000 a year, roughly $833 a month, and you invested in a simple diversified portfolio earning a 7% annual return. That's a totally realistic scenario. How long does it take to hit $100,000? 7 years and 10 months. Nearly 8 years. That number stings a little, right? But here's what makes it sting even more. Of that $100,000, you personally contributed roughly $70,000 of it. The market, the compound interest everyone keeps raving about, it only threw in about $30,000. You did 70% of the work, and that's why this phase feels like running a marathon in wet cement. You're not getting lazy returns, you're just not getting enough help yet. The machine hasn't warmed up. Your account doesn't have enough fuel for compounding to really kick in. For the average person, this grind lasts until they're just past the age of 29. 7 to 8 years of grinding, skipping the upgraded vacation, maxing contributions while your friends are buying jet skis on credit. It is genuinely the hardest part. Charlie Munger, one of the greatest investors in history, Warren Buffett's right hand, said it with legendary bluntness. The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it. I don't care what you have to do. Find a way to get your hands on $100,000. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. This man helped build a $900 billion empire, and that's how he described the first milestone. Not glamorous, not inspiring, just honest. So if you're somewhere in that grind right now, trust that you're not broken. The math itself is working against you at this stage, and it's supposed to feel hard. Because the moment you cross that line, everything flips. Section 3. The mathematical flex. Here's where the story gets interesting. Remember Shannon? Same job, same savings rate, same $10,000 a year into the same index fund. Nothing changed except for starting balance. Let's watch what happens after she clears $100,000. First $100,000, 7 years, 10 months. Almost 8 years of grinding. Second $100K, from $100K to $200K, 5 years, 1 month. Nearly 3 years faster. Same contributions, same return. Third $100K, from $200 to $300, 3 years, 9 months. Fourth $100K, 3 years. Fifth $100K, 2.5 years. Same person, same effort, same discipline, but the math is now running a completely different race. By the time she reaches $500,000, over half of her total balance came not from her contributions, but from pure compound growth. The machine that was warming up on the bench, it just walked onto the field and started doing most of the work. This is the snowball effect, and it's not a metaphor, it's physics. A snowball at the top of a mountain barely moves at first. You're rolling it by hand, inch by inch. The snow clings in tiny amounts. Progress feels invisible. But once it picks up enough mass, it doesn't need you anymore. It pulls more snow into itself automatically. It accelerates. It gets bigger with every rotation, not because you're pushing harder, but because size creates momentum, and momentum creates more size. And here's the stat that should permanently rewire how you think about this. At a 7% annual return, if you hit $1 million and stop contributing a single dollar, your portfolio generates roughly $70,000 a year in returns alone. That's more than the median US household income from doing absolutely nothing. That is what compound interest looks like when it's finally flexing. But here's the truth people miss. It can't flex until it has something to work with, and $100,000 is the minimum weight it needs to start lifting. This is why $100,000 isn't just a number. It's the first major tipping point, the threshold where your money starts working harder than you do. Section 4. The psychological pivot. Something happens to a person the first time they watch their account grow by thousands of dollars in a single month without touching it. Not hundreds, thousands. It's the first time investing stops feeling like a sacrifice and starts feeling like a game you're winning. Because up until that point, contributing every month felt like pouring water into a bucket with a slow leak. You'd check the app, see that you're up a little or down, put in another few hundred, and think, does this actually work? But once the compounding kicks in, that question disappears forever. Suddenly, a boring 8% annual return on $100,000 doesn't just sound like a statistic, it feels like something. It's $8,000 of growth in a year. That's a car payment, a vacation, a month's rent from nothing you did. At $250,000, an 8% return is $20,000 in a year. At $500,000, it's $40,000 in a year. And when your account is growing at that speed, something fundamental shifts in your psychology. Financial experts call this escape velocity. It's the point where your net worth has enough momentum that it starts compounding into a future that feels genuinely possible, not just theoretical. And once your brain makes that shift, you stop seeing frugality as punishment. You stop seeing investment contributions as money you're losing. You start seeing every dollar you don't blow on lifestyle inflation as a brick in a machine that will pay you back 10 times over. This is what separates the people who eventually win with money from the people who are perpetually broke at six-figure salaries. It's not income, it's the psychological relationship with compounding. And you can't buy that mindset at a seminar. You have to earn it by surviving the grind of the first $100,000. Section 5. The encouraging conclusion. Here's the part I really want you to hear. Ramsey Solutions studied over 10,000 millionaires in the largest study of its kind. And what they found will either surprise you or make complete sense depending on where you are in your journey. 79% of millionaires received zero inheritance, nothing handed down. 93% said they built their wealth through hard work, not through a massive salary, not through lucky stock picks, not by going viral. They were teachers, nurses, mid-level managers, engineers. Shockingly ordinary people who did one thing that most people around them didn't do. They finished the hardest part of the journey, the foundation, earlier than everyone else. They took the grind of those first 7 to 8 years seriously. They didn't bail when the account barely moved. They maxed contributions while their friends were buying jet skis on credit. It is genuinely the hardest part. So here's your call to action, and it's simpler than you think. Stop checking the investment app every 5 minutes. Market volatility at this stage is noise, it's not the score. Don't let the daily swings tempt you into panic selling or second-guessing the plan. Guard your lifestyle inflation like it's your most dangerous enemy, because it is. Every raise that quietly becomes a bigger apartment, a newer car, or a more expensive daily habit is compounding, working against you. You don't have to live like a monk, but every dollar you protect from lifestyle creep is a dollar that goes to work compounding in your favor. And most importantly, let the math do the work it was always designed to do. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are exactly where the math says someone serious about this journey is supposed to be. The snowball only needs one push. You've already started. Now the only job is to not stop. The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it. Charlie Munger.